Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. So here we stand at Suzuki East London. We drove through from Hogsback yesterday, and we've handed the vehicle in this morning, and we've got to wait for the verdict. They've got to check the side shaft seal, check the wheel bearing, and make sure that they've got all the parts to do the job. So hopefully if they've got all the parts, they can get it done within a few hours and we can be on our way. Now, as you can see, the weather's incredibly inclement, and this is the big snowfalls that we're going to be hitting roads today and tomorrow that make those mountain passes impossible for us anyway. So we've got today and tomorrow to have this job done, and even if we end up going to Resthaven and Matatiele tomorrow, that's also still can fit in with our plan. Now, the mechanic said that it's not leaking a lot, and I've seen that as well. It's only a few drips. So if we're able to continue and just keep our diff oil topped up, I'm prepared to keep doing that because we don't want to lose this entire trip. So here we are at Suzuki. We're going to go and have some coffee and sit tight and wait for the next hour or so until they can determine whether they can get this job done or not. So yeah, cross fingers. Let's hope they can get it done and we can be on our way and continue with our journey. So the verdict from Suzuki East London is that they didn't have a side shaft seal. So, you know, we can't afford to wait around in East London for 5 days while they order the seal. So they did say that I've hardly lost any oil out of the diff. So we did call ahead to Suzuki Kokstad, but they also don't have the part as well. And then we called Suzuki Pietermaritzburg, which is kind of close to where we're going, and they can get the part there by Wednesday. Obviously they're much closer to Johannesburg, where the part's got to come from, so their delivery time's a lot shorter than way down here in the Eastern Cape. So our plan now is we've basically left East London and we're on our way up to Matatiele. You know, we would have had to replan our route anyway due to the snowfalls in Berkeley East and Rhodes. I mean, the prediction's now up to 90 centimeters of snow in Berkeley East and in the Rhodes region, and there's just no way we would have got out of there. We would have been stuck there for several days, and I certainly wouldn't have wanted to come down Nordeer's Neck Pass in thick snow because it's treacherous anyway without the snow. So we've had to replan our trip anyway, and we are still okay. The vehicle's still drivable. There's a tiny drop of oil coming out every now and then from the shaft seal on the left side, and it's fine. We're going to proceed and stay in Matatiele tonight. We'll continue with our route if the roads are not closed along Heimville and the Lower Luteni Road to Glengarry Holiday Farm. But if those roads are closed, we'll have to go round via Kokstad and Pietermaritzburg and Nottingham Road and go in that way. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. We've got 2 nights booked at Glengarry, and that's the day we've got to have the car done in Pietermaritzburg anyway. So it's quite a short trip down into Maritzburg, get the job done to Suzuki, and get back onto track. By then, the weather should have cleared and everything should continue. So that's our plan now. We're driving to Matatiele from East London, and we should be there late this afternoon, and everything should be back on track. It rained virtually the entire way from East London to Matatiele. Not the most fun drive we've done in a while. We were just glad that we weren't losing too much oil from our leaking side shaft seal, and that we were almost back on track with our route to Kruger National Park. So we've now just joined the Route 56, and it's been quite a long, not so easy journey traveling all the way through the Eastern Cape from East London. Lots of rain, lots of mist, just very cold conditions. You know, the roads have got quite a lot of potholes and things, and not an entirely an easy drive, but nonetheless we've just joined the Route 56, and that is the tar route, the alternative tar route, our green route, which runs from Cape Town to Kruger all the way on the alternative roads. So now we're officially following the green route, and that will take us right the way through to Matatiele. Yeah, so the weather, of course, as we've seen all around the country, is pretty extreme at the moment. It's just as well we didn't go all the way up to Rhodes, because we definitely would have got stuck there. Everything is closed from Berkeley East right the way through Mount Fletcher. All of those roads are completely closed. There's only a few roads, even now with the snow in Matatiele. People are worried about if they can even get through to Kokstad. So we're right in the thick of it now, and if we had gone up 2 roads, we would be stuck there certainly for a number of days. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of snow that's been falling, but the rain, at the moment it's on and off snow, rain, so it's melting a lot of the snow that's sitting around on the roofs. But all of the high-lying surrounding areas are completely covered in snow. Everything's snowed in, which is fun, but not that great if you have to travel slippery gravel roads. The road that we were intending to take tomorrow along from Heimville, along the Lower Luteni, I don't know if that road's even drivable at the moment, or tomorrow. From Wednesday it starts clearing, so we might find that we'll get some incredible landscapes. We might have to take some tar roads around to get where we're going to in Glengarry, but we might get incredibly beautiful landscapes all covered in snow with sunshine. But for the next day or so, we're going to be sitting tight here in Matatiele. There's no point in moving anywhere other than tomorrow we have to drive through to Pietermaritzburg to get the shaft seal done on the Jimny. So that's about the only moving we're going to do. And by then, most of the snow will be melted on those roads into Pietermaritzburg. Good morning. We are still in Matatiele. All of the big snows are over now, and yesterday we had quite a bit of sunshine, melting a lot of the snow that was lying around. But in some of the higher mountains surrounding us, and of course the entire Maluti range is absolutely white and really beautiful. So in Matatiele, this is one of the sections where all 3 of the routes merge together. The red route, of course, would have come out of Rhodes and down Nordea's Neck and joined up just before Mount Fletcher, and that would have joined the blue and the green route, which would have come on the Route 56. So today, the route carries on through Kokstad, Underberg, and to Heimville, and from there, the green or tar route splits off and goes down via Bulwer to Pietermaritzburg and continues up the highway to Bergville, Winterton, and then into the Drakensberg up to Golden Gate. So that's our plan for the next few days. We're not going to take the Lower Luteni Road from Heimville, and we're not doing Sani Pass. Sani Pass was closed due to the snow, and we have done it several times before. And because we have to go into Suzuki Pietermaritzburg to have the shaft seal done today, we're going to follow the all-tar route right down into Pietermaritzburg, get that job done, and then we're heading out on the highway up to Nottingham Road, and we'll pick up with Camberg from there, and then we'll be back on the red route. And from there we'll continue up to Golden Gate and round to Clarence, and then up into the Free State. So it's not too cold this morning. It is a little bit overcast, but it doesn't have that chilly, freezing feel like it has the last few days. Although there's still some snow around, I think the cloud has kept it nice and warm. So we're just busy packing up now. Our appointment in Pietermaritzburg is around 2 o'clock, so we've got plenty of time. It's about 3 hours drive to Pietermaritzburg from where we are in Matatiele, and then we'll get the job done in Suzuki and then leave to our accommodation in Glengarry and Camberg for this evening. We didn't make the 2 p.m. appointment at Suzuki Pietermaritzburg due to slow roads and a lot of traffic in Underberg. So we had to reschedule for the next day, unfortunately losing our accommodation at Glengarry Holiday Farm Chalets in Camberg. We spent the entire day at the Suzuki dealership in Pietermaritzburg waiting for the shaft seal to be replaced. We left the dealership in the late afternoon and headed on our way up the N3, turning off via Winterton and Bergville, and further to our overnight stay, which was now rebooked at the Tower of Pizza in the northern Drakensberg. The Tower of Pizza has its origin in an unused grain silo. With the addition of a traditional wood-burning pizza oven, became a pizzeria back in the 90s. This quickly became a popular meeting place for both local people and tourists and has grown into a landmark in the area. The accommodation is in comfortable 4-sleeper cottages and smaller rondavels. Good morning and welcome to the beautiful Drakensberg in KwaZulu-Natal. We're going to do a quick recap on basically everything that's been happening over the last 4 or 5 days. There's been intensive weather in the Eastern Cape Highlands, but that's one aspect of the recap.
Yeah, all I have to say, Craig will sort of drill down into the detail a little more, is what we've learned is a very, very valuable lesson on these trips, and that is to always expect the unexpected. We really have had to change direction quite dramatically. But fortunately now we are back on track, and yesterday was a serious test of our patience. I mean, we literally spent the entire day in Pietermaritzburg between the workshop and a mall, and we really had to exercise a lot of patience. But it's a beautiful day and we look forward to resuming the route, the intended route, and look forward to a filming day in the stunning, stunning weather.
Yeah, and we hope that, there was a lot of snow in the southern Drakensberg and the Maluti area, and in between Underberg and Swartberg, as you've seen in the footage already from previous episodes. It's just absolutely amazing amount of snow, but we were rushing so much to get from Matatiele to Pietermaritzburg that we weren't really able to film the incredible winter landscape that was around us, but we did manage to get some footage. And we rushed to try and get there through completely crazy construction roads, to bad traffic, to potholed roads through Bulwer and Underberg, and only to get to Underberg nearly 4 hours later. And we were then too late for Suzuki Pietermaritzburg. They couldn't do the job. Which
was, sorry to interrupt, yeah, Craig, which was a huge pity because there were so many incredible filming opportunities in those landscapes. But we were under the impression that we were going to get the vehicle sorted in a couple of hours, and none of that actually happened.
Yeah, and then we booked into a cheap motel in Pietermaritzburg, shot through to Suzuki early morning. The guy said he'll have the job done by 1 o'clock. They were also going to do the kingpin bearing shims as well at the same time, because we got a little bit of a Jimny wobble starting, and we thought, okay, we can get the entire vehicle sorted by lunchtime and then head into the Drakensberg. We booked ourselves in here to Tower of Pizza, which is in the northern Drakensberg, and we spent that whole day in Pietermaritzburg waiting, and then when they had the shaft out, they're like, oh, your bearing's worn and this is worn and you can't drive this vehicle, and we can get it done for you, but only next week, Wednesday. I mean, are you kidding? We gave them our itinerary and said we absolutely have to be gone by 1 o'clock. So there's two aspects on this trip that's changed our direction completely. One, of course, was the leaking shaft seal, and the other was the massive snowfalls in the Eastern Cape Highlands. Just as well we didn't go there because it took about 2, nearly 3 days for them to clear the Barkley Pass. So we would have been stuck up in roads and not be able to go forwards or backwards. And that's the problem, is we would have lost all of this Drakensberg accommodation. As it is, we had to cancel Glen in Camberg because we spent the whole day at Suzuki. So it just goes to show you always have to be prepared for the unknown, and you always have to have the spare cash as well, because some of these things can cost several thousands of rand. So that's our recap. We are back on track as of today in the Golden Gate, and we will be back on the red route. In fact, we're on the red route now, but this is another area where the red and the green and the blue all merge together because there aren't really continuous gravel roads from Camberg. The Lower Luteni Road does carry on, but then it becomes really bad tar up to Winterton, and then all the routes would come past here and go through Clarence. So there's a lot of areas where all three routes are joined, and we are on one of those sections now as far as Clarence and into Bethlehem, and then they start splitting off.
Let's go have breakfast.
Let's go eat some breakfast, that's right, yeah. We headed up towards Harrismith on the R74, passing Little Switzerland and over Olifier's Hook Pass. then travelled alongside the incredible Stakfontein Dam. Reaching the Golden Gate Highlands National Park, the landscape changes and becomes incredibly beautiful, with high rock walls and buttresses flanking the roadside. Our overnight stay was at Glen Reenen Chalets, where we got to catch up on laundry and just relax for a few days and soak up the beautiful views. Join us again in the next episode, where we leave the picturesque Golden Gate Highlands National Park and travel for several days into the Free State via Clarence, Warden, Wakkerstroom, and then skirt our way along the Eswatini border, eventually arriving at the Malalaan Gate of the Kruger National Park.